Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Yin Yoga class, where we will be aging gracefully. So what I mean in one of the physical senses that Yin Yoga can help us age gracefully is through joint health. Bringing more lubrication into the joints, into the tissues surrounding the joints, allowing toxins to rise to the surface and flow out of the body, as well as strengthening those tissues. So for today's class, we will be focusing a lot on joint health, laying the groundwork for joint health into the future, and aging gracefully. So have your props next to you. If you are confused as to what you should have for props, look down in the description box for optional props in Yin Yoga. Okay, let's begin. So come and take a comfortable seat. This can be kneeling, sitting up on a block, anything that just feels comfortable so that you can lift up tall through your spine and bring the shoulders onto your back body. Feel free to close your eyes. And if you choose to keep them open, just have a soft gaze out on the floor in front of you. Feel all the parts of your body that are connected to the ground. Breathe deep into your low belly as you inhale. And then as you exhale, just extend that exhalation a little longer. Become aware of sounds that are around you. Just witness the sounds. Bring your palms together in prayer position in front of your heart space. Let's just take a nice cleansing breath in through the nose and then out through the mouth. The first pose we're going to come into is a toe squat. So curl your toes under with the soles of the feet facing towards the back wall behind you. Make sure that all toes are touching the ground. And just keep your palms down on the floor in front of you. And we won't be here too long. A lot of sensation into the feet and toes is perfectly normal. Okay, come forward onto hands and knees, and it might feel good just to extend the feet back and then tap through the toes. Sit back onto your heels. And we're going to get into the ankles a little bit. So I'm going to give you a couple options of what you can do. You can bring the palms back behind you. Or a variation that I like to take, and you might have enough sensation into the ankles just sitting back on your heels perfectly like this. In the terms of sensation in your body during yin yoga, you want to not chase sensation, not feeling pain at all. You just want to have some sensation, about a 4 or 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. So like I was saying, you can bring the tops of the knees onto blocks if you have them. This is just an option of variation. And then you can sit your hips back to the heels, and that's going to give you some sensation into the tops of the feet and into the ankles. So find a way to be comfortable. Like I said in the first pose, we won't be here too long. These are more shoulder held yin yoga poses. You can always complement your practice by using whatever props you feel would just be perfect for the situation. Okay, whatever variation you were on, just come back into tabletop onto hands and knees. From here, we're going to get into the wrists and fingers. So bring your palms, your fingers, and your palms down onto the mat so that the fingers are now extending towards the long edges of your mat. Spread wide through the fingertips, and you can always go a little bit further if you like by bringing the fingertips towards your knees. So a lot more sensation. And you can bend a little bit through the elbows. Just a little bit. Now, as gently as you can, just begin to peel the back, the heel of the hand off the mat a little bit. So now you're getting a little bit into the fingers. And if you were like this, it would be kind of a little bit, it would look like this. And if you would want to get into the forearm a little bit, you can just bend through those elbows. So a couple breaths just like this. And then just gradually peel so you're right onto the fingertips now. Now the palms are just facing each other. And if you're like I am, and then fully release, just sit back on your heels. You can do little wrist circles if you like, or extend and point and flex the fingers. Okay, so one more variation like this. Just bring the back of the hand down onto the mat in the opposite direction than what we did in the first side. So your fingertips are facing towards each other now. You really want to get into the forearm, the back of the wrist, into the palm. And if you had your fingertips facing you, it would look like this. You can always sit back on your heels if you feel like you're straining too much. And just like we did with the first wrist stretch, just peel the wrist a little bit off the mat slowly, and then lifting all the way through the fingertips, maybe tenting them onto the ground for a moment, and then sitting back on your heels. Just do any movement that feels spontaneous to release. Our next pose will be a squat, and if you know about yogi squat, you can come into it, but what I really advise, so that you can hold it for time, is to use props to sit on. So as you come onto your feet, bring the big toes out, heels in, and then sit your hips back down towards the ground. This is when you can place your props underneath, because we will be holding this pose for minutes. So you can bring your elbows to the inside of the knees, palms together in prayer. Lift up tall, but still try to relax everything that doesn't need to be working in your body. And you can always feel free to do less time in any pose or come out earlier, especially if you're feeling any kind of discomfort or pain. If you're sitting up on props, just walk your knees into center for a moment. And if you're not using props, just sit back onto your bottom with your knees bent, feet on the floor for a second. If you were using props, just move them off to the side and come and take a seat. What we'll come into next is deer pose, and we'll actually start at the back edge of the mat. So bring your left shin parallel towards the back edge of your mat, and your right shin parallel to the side edge of your mat, and flex through your feet. You really want to get a sensation into this right hip thigh area. So you can even sit up tall if you feel you have a sensation here. If not, bring your palms back behind you, and then you control how far you go. So you can stay uplifted like I am. Excuse me, you can tuck the tailbone under a little bit, or you can come down to the forearms, or you can lie down all the way onto your back. If you are back, laying down or on your forearms, just slowly lift back out, coming out the way you came in. It might feel good just to extend both legs out in front of you for a moment. Either kind of flopping the feet side to side or just staying still. And I forgot to mention on the first side, you can always prop your body up against a wall. Sometimes it makes it easier to hold. Okay, let's go to the other side. So bring your right shin parallel to the front edge of your mat, and your left shin parallel to the long edge of your mat. Flex through the feet, especially the left one. And then if you have a lot of sensation just where you are like this, just stay where you are. Or you can bring the palms back behind you. And if you're still not feeling anything, come to the forearms and then the back. So you really control how far you go. And like I said, you can just prop yourself up against the wall if that feels good. Easier to hold. Gently lift back up, always moving slowly in yin. And then bring the left leg out in front of you to meet the right, straightening if that feels good to you. Maybe kind of flopping the feet or staying still, or both. Okay, let's lie down all the way onto our backs. Have a block somewhere close, and with your feet bent, your knees bent, feet on the floor, just press into the ground and place your block under your hips at the lowest level. So we're in Recline Bridge, and we're going to take a couple variations. Well, just one variation actually. So from where you are, just make sure that there's no pinching or compression in your low back and that it feels comfortable. Then hug your right knee into the chest. You can interlace the fingers on top of the shin or behind the knee, whichever way feels good. You can even use a strap around the knee, holding it comfortably. And then from here, extend that left leg so the heel is coming down towards the floor now. And if your leg is just hovering, that's okay. You have a couple ways to deal with that. You can either just let gravity guide the heel lower down, or you can just place a pillow or a block or any kind of prop underneath the heel. So you choose what feels best for you and your body. Relax all the muscles that don't need to be working. Slowly release your right knee, bringing both feet back down to the ground. Just take a breath. And let's go to the opposite side. Hugging your left knee into the chest. Staying exactly as you are, or extending the right leg down onto the ground. Begin to release, bringing the feet back down to the ground. Lift through your hips and just move your block over to the side. And then widen the feet towards the edges of your mat and let your knees drop in together. roll to one side for a moment just to grab your props. We're going to come into supported fish. So if you have a couple blocks, you can place the first block parallel to the top edge of your mat, and the second block long lengthways to the long edge of your mat. And when you lay down on your back, that first block is going to go directly in between the shoulder blades, so it's a heart opener. And then the second block is to support your head. So if you find that the block here can be a little uncomfortable, you can always place a blanket or a towel or use a pillow. What I like to do is use my meditation pillow. I just find it's a little bit softer. And then come back forward, knees bent, and then lower the middle of the shoulders onto the first prop, and then support your head with the second prop. So we do a lot of hunching, rounded shoulders in our lifetime. And I will give you the option to raise your arms overhead. If you feel any tingling in your palms or arms, just lower them back down by your sides. This makes it a lot more sensational. You don't have to do it. And for the legs, you can just extend them straight. So take a moment and just get comfortable. Big heart opener. If you feel that you need less props, less propping up, you can always just lie on your back and raise your arms overhead if you wanted to, or roll up a towel and place it in between the shoulder blades. The goal is really just to have your shoulders rolling back, heart and chest open, and then you can just relax. And if your arms are overhead, feel free to lower them back down anytime you want. Begin to roll over slowly and gently to one side, coming back up onto your forearm, and then just move your props off to the side. Lay back down. And then extend your feet again to the edges of the mat and just drop your knees to the left, then to the right, and one more on each side. Okay, hug your knees into the chest. And then let your knees go a little bit wider, only till as you feel comfortable. And you can bring your palms either behind the knees or on top of the shins. You can cross the ankles if you like. Just find a way to get comfortable. Release the arms, release the legs. If you would like to cover your eyes, you can always use an eye pillow or a folded up towel, but that is completely optional. And then extend the arms alongside your body, shoulders coming onto the back. Extend the legs. Completely relax all the muscles. All the bones. Let the sense of ease go as deep as it can. Not only into your body, but in your mind and heart as well. Begin to lengthen your breath, stretching through your hands and feet, waking back up, maybe raising your arms overhead and taking a nice long stretch. If you were using an eye covering, just slowly take it off. And then roll over over to one side, using your arm as a pillow. Just for a moment, come into a little ball. Press all the way back up to take a seat. Take a moment to check in and see how your body is. If it feels good, that's great. If something feels tweaked or not quite right, try to think about what might need adjusting in your practice. Just witness it without holding on. Then let that go for a moment. And again, focus on your breath. Cool inhale, warm exhale. Do you feel more quiet than when you first started? Does your mind feel more quiet? Does it not? And does your heart feel more open? Or does it not? Simply be aware. Don't try to change anything. Just see it as it is. As you move on from your practice today, simply let yourself and allow yourself to be, just be. If you allow yourself to be, does this create tension with anyone or anything in your life? Or is it all okay? Bring your palms together in front of your heart space. Let's close with a chant of Om. Inhale deeply through your nose. Thank you so much for practicing Yin Yoga today. If you enjoyed this class, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help support these free classes, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day and a great night's sleep tonight. Thank you so much. Namaste.